Hi, and welcome to the Diablo Podcast, your home for Diablo diehards, tryhards, casual, and hardcore alike. I am your host, Xanth, and today I am joined by my lovely co-host, Nerwords,
Well, hello.
and special guest, we can't keep him away, MacroBioBoi.
Thank you so much for having me again. I do have a curiosity question for you when we get done with the intros, though.
Yeah, we're done with the intros. You mean, let's go for it.
Am I the most guestiest guest at this point? Or does somebody else hold that crown over me? Because I was thinking about it. We've done this quite a bit.
We have done this. Mac, I think you are
I think you are, yeah.
Yeah, I think you have the most guest
Let's
appearances.
go.
We can give you
Let's do it.
We can call you an honorary guest host at this point, right?
I'll take that. I'll be putting that on my resume. Thank you very much. I'll send legal documentation over for sure.
I mean, we are a very big deal. So, yeah, I do think I'm trying to think if there's anybody else who's been on more than that. No,
I can't think of
'cause
anybody.
I honestly,
Yeah.
Mac, you were the first guest we really had. Because that was like episode 4 or 5 that you came on, and we were talking about Diablo 2. And then I think one of the all-timers. So behind the scenes, there's a show I've been desperately wanting to do, which is Drunk Diablo. And
Oh, we have to. There's a
the
whole Discord and nothing
yeah,
has been said in there.
nothing has happened because it does take some work and some time. But the thought would be I would get guests hammered, and then they would have to tell a story from Diablo lore. So there's a lot
Oh,
that
I
needs to
love
happen.
that.
Yeah. Now, the problem is there's a lot of moving pieces. You got to get people who are going to want to be drunk on camera and what have you. But there was an episode that Mac kind of thought we were doing Drunk Diablo. And it was early in the D4 beta. I think we had all played and we were talking about it, and you showed up with a big old 40, if I recall correctly.
And you know what? Shout outs to anybody who's ever consumed 40 ounces of malt liquor out of a glass or plastic at this point bottle. The struggle is real, and I think we should just recognize that in the, where the economy is right now. And shout outs to everybody who understands what that meant before I explained it.
It was an all-timer. It was a great episode in general, but you were very betrayed by the fact you're like, wait, we're not doing that tonight? Like, oh no, this is just the regular podcast. This is just our regular show.
Hey, I showed up for Drunk Diablo, and I made it seemingly sober Diablo. And I think, you know what? That's something to be celebrated.
We're gonna make that show happen eventually, but it will take some more time. But that's not what we're here for today. We are not here to get hammered and tell stories of Diablo, though I did just read the most recent Diablo novel, The Lost Rodrum. Not bad. Would have loved to have had it 3 months before the game came out. That would have been more
Oh,
exciting,
sure, yeah.
right?
I assume it's a
Reading
little bit
reading it
where
after
it
the fact,
goes, kind of.
yeah, it's just not so much. But we need more of those. Anyways, we're not going to get hammered and talk about the Lost Rodrum. We are going to talk about Season 15 because we were given a nice preview of what to expect with some things being held back. We know that BlizzCon is just around the corner, little over a month now, month and 9 days. Crazy. Or month and
Just terrifying.
10 days.
I was just talking, not to name drop, I was just talking with Woody about this recently because I was like, I'm positive I woke up yesterday and it was January. And then my birthday's in July. So then it was July and it was my birthday. And now I'm double checking that we are properly reserved for our flights for BlizzCon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it can't be then. I'm busy. I'm doing things. It can't be then.
Mac also is a July birthday. When's your birthday?
Yeah. So if anybody wanted to know my social security number as well, but so I'm July 17th. That makes me a Cancer for anybody who believes in that part of the spectrum of magic.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a rising Leo, and I think that's why I'm so good on the camera. But no, it's I'm a little crab baby. That means don't hurt me. I think I'm not too sure.
Same, 21st of July. So
Oh yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people born in July, and you're like, man, what were all of our parents doing, huh? It's interesting.
My son's
I don't wanna
birthday is
work it
July
back.
19th. So
Look at that. Hey, that's a good time to be born.
Yeah.
for reasons.
I don't want to think about my parents having sex. So
Yeah, let's move on quicker.
You know,
Oh, God.
it's thanks. That's where I'm working back on 9 months and then thinking what was going on around that time. So
Thanks, Mama and Papa Xanth. Appreciate you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So
that's true.
Cheers to the month of October.
God damn it, that's my mom's birthday. Okay. So it's true. I've already done the math. I know what was happening.
Yep.
All right, I did just screech like a banshee. We do have to move on.
Best intro ever. Parental sex aside, we are talking about the PTR and the upcoming changes to the game. Now, before we get into that, Nerdwords has been on, has talked a little bit about his experience in season 14. I've already kind of relayed a little bit of that myself. Macro, how has season 14 went for you? Are you still kind of digging into it as much? Like, I would imagine from the streaming standpoint, there's still always a ladder push, but where are you at right now?
All right, I'm just going to get it out of the way real quick, and people are going to hate me. This is one of the best seasons of Diablo 4 I've ever played. And okay, hear me out.
Everybody.
I promise you, it's a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome. Absolutely. It's a little bit of copium. Once I realized, because very early on, you went and killed the boss, right? And like she didn't drop any of the stuff, and the caches didn't drop any of the stuff, and doing the whatever, the Realm Walker didn't drop anything. And I went, oh, this is all broken. Oh, okay. I'll just completely ignore that. And then I'll just play Diablo 4, the fun game that was fun when the expansion launched.
Right.
And I just had a great time. I played Solo Self-Found this season, and Maxroll held like a Solo Self-Found race to T12 Mephisto. I only got beat out by Ace of Spades, and like I've never like sincerely been competitive. I'm much more of a theory crafter than make it happen in the game kind of player. And I got second place on the Warlock playing an off-meta build for that, so I was very proud of that. It was like day 2 I killed T12 Mephisto on this build. I just had a great time. I got a few mythics off like random drops. They fit into some of my builds. All the builds I theory crafted worked out really well, and it turns out 2 or 3 of them actually ended up being fairly meta competitive builds. I got my top 10 placement very early on, got my little halo and whatever, and I just had a really good time. The lead dev on the Warlock had put in a lot of effort to solve some of the bugs that I was experiencing, remove some of the clunkiness. So I was just having a blast playing a much smoother experience of the Warlock. Did like 5 or 8 builds somewhere amount that, and then I went, all right, time to go play the Necromancer. By the time I played the Necromancer, they had come in and dropped all the patches already, so my experience on the Necromancer was very smooth. I got the mythics that I needed pretty quickly. I just had a great time. Now, it's easy for me to say that, and I recognize that, but it doesn't change the fact I just had a blast.
I mean, it's such a weird take on a Diablo podcast to admit that you enjoy playing Diablo, but
yeah, well,
I appreciate the bravery out there.
I understand how, like, if you don't take what I'm saying at face value, it sounds very tone deaf, and I do. I recognize that, right? I'm very privileged. I got to play like 100 hours in the first week, right? I recognized it was effed. Like, it was straight up, it didn't work. Right. So I didn't worry about that. I just said, okay, I haven't gotten my Ring of Starless Skies. I haven't gotten the Mythic for my build. I haven't gotten the things that I want. That doesn't stop me from being able to go get gear. It doesn't stop me from being able to play. Let me see how hard I can push in spite of that. I got the little ego boost of being like, oh, look at me. I don't have all this stuff, and I'm still crushing it, right? I always use this example with people. There are a ton of free-to-play mobile games, right? But really, they're gotchas, and they're meant to drain you of all of your money. Diablo Immortal not excluded from this.
Right.
I find an incredible amount of pleasure in playing those games and not spending money and seeing how well you can do. I just brought that same mentality to this season. And then once it was all fixed, I got to just play the season as it was supposed to be. And it turns out with the mechanic, it was pretty fun.
Yeah. No, I think, and something that we had brought up, I think like 2 shows ago, that the core expansion was great. This was just more of that. So playing it
It was more of
is
that.
still good. Obviously, you want a season to be better, but it doesn't necessarily detract from the expansion itself, which was solid and
Right.
enjoyed playing. Plus, I'm in a similar boat. I was doing hardcore solo self-found, so that was fun. That was something new to play with, and I'm still ladderboard or I'm still ladder chasing to this day because that was enough of a hook. Not the season mechanic, but just seeing how far I can go, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. And I'm using, as you mentioned, your meta build, your lunatic build, because it
It's a lot of
works.
fun, dude. It's
Um,
crazy. It's crazy good.
So thank you for that. I did kill a few of them already, but this
Yeah,
one's gonna live. It's still
I'm
squishy.
not gonna I'm not gonna lie to you, it's kind of a squishy warlock build. You
Yeah,
gotta stand in your tortured wretches a lot. So
all
I
the time.
recommend that all of the time.
But people are out there doing it, and I'm hoping that'll be the case.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people are gonna comment, so let's just get right to it. You stream Diablo, it's your big thing, so you have to play it. So your opinion doesn't matter. What do you say to that?
I would actually be getting double the views, double the viewership, and be significantly more financially stable if I was just making Diablo 2 content. And I choose not to do that because I enjoy playing Diablo 4 at this point in my life. And also, like, one, I don't need to actually defend myself at all. I'm out here. I just bought a house and I have a puppy. So yeah,
Right.
I owe a lot to what I do, no question. I would argue, especially with the breadth of people that, especially in the partner program, most of the time we spend saying, "Hey, we don't like this, change it." Unironically, it's not a bunch of bootlickers in there just being like, "You guys made a masterpiece. Everything is great." I can't even imagine being on the Diablo side of it, like the dev side of it, and being like, "Ah, they hate it again, huh? All right, well, what do we do this time?" It's it is very important for me to separate the thing I'm personally experiencing and the objective reality, and then give my personal experience as a set of lenses to look at the objective reality through to understand why a human psyche may not like those particular things. Day one, I was in there like, so is it supposed to do nothing and not reward us and just be bad, or what's the deal?
Right.
And they're like, we're on vacation. I was like, I'll see you in a week. And then I can live with that.
Right.
The average consumer both can't and shouldn't have to meet those people where they're at. The way that the season launched is absolute garbage bullshit and never should have. And how dare it? Like, sincerely, as a consumer, how dare it? I just also can recognize the why and then give that grace. And then once it's resolved, determine whether or not that's good enough. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. And that's literally perfectly fine. Keep yelling. They need that to do better the next time.
Right.
And we've seen that historically.
Well, speaking of the next time, we got a little preview, right? We know we're going to be able to dig into the PTR soon. Couple days. So obviously I know you're already chomping at the bit to get in there because I if I don't PTR, which frequently I don't, I at least tune in to you because the amount of work that you put in is astronomical. We brought it up time and time again.
Oh, thank you.
I sat and watched you for a half an hour at Marak, getting gear, disenchanting it, getting all your aspects, and then just keeping that process going to get various uniques because you wanted the different rolled uniques, you wanted to test everything. That's the level of commitment that I just don't have. So I feel like you are the perfect person to be here to run us through what we're getting ourselves into from a top level. As you dug into the patch notes, what was your initial well, I'm gonna start with you, Nerds, first, because Mac's been up in this business, and I know he's got his thoughts. But for both of you, we didn't get a lot of new content in the most recent season. Season 14 is very light. It's not necessarily additive, whereas this new season has a lot more going for it. So from the top level, what was your initial reaction to the PTR notes, Nerdwords?
Sorcerers are cooked. And I will be rocking. Actually, to be honest with you, Mac, I watched your video on the PTR stuff recently, and I did not realize the amount and breadth of changes to the Warlock. I loved playing the Warlock. Yeah,
Insane.
I loved playing him at the beginning of the expansion. I know it's a little clunky for some others, but I was still, it felt good to me, right? I was running a high mobility build. It was super fun. It was great, and it felt like a caster in ways that even a sorcerer doesn't feel. It felt more in tune with what I want out of a game. I love playing casters. I love the use of magic, and Warlock really fits a separate niche from a sorcerer in a very cool way. These changes seem cracked. So yeah, my immediate reaction was I'm playing Warlock next season to start. I will still alt into a Sorc eventually, but I've been playing the Firewall build all season, and it's been fun but clunky, and it seems like it's gonna. I mean, they're nerfing it, even though it wasn't nearly where some other builds are. So it is what it is. We'll see how it plays out. I was happy to not do lightning, ball lightning this go around. I was doing everything I could to stay away from it. But I'm definitely going to rock Warlock. Also, we finally have Rebirth, thank God. I know that feels very small to so many people, but and Mac, I know you feel this because I'm sure your character list is completely full too. It makes me very happy to be able to continue to just rebirth characters. It was a great quality of life for Diablo 3. I loved Diablo 3. I played it the entirety of the time it was way out. I love Diablo 2. I love Diablo 1. I love all of Diablo. I think learning from our past games is how we make this game better. Yep. And they're continuing to bring more into Diablo 3 that were positive things, good things, cool items, fun pieces. So excited, tentative on my excitement because Sorc feels so off base from everyone else right now. Not everyone else, but most, especially the top. And I have this sneaking suspicion, no matter what they do, barbs are still going to be crazy. No matter what they do, it's always barbs, right? So, but I am cautiously optimistic and excited for it for sure. Mostly excited because we're going to find out a bunch of stuff at BlizzCon that could be very cool. So I'm excited for that.
We'll table BlizzCon theories for the end because I have one that I want to throw out there. I want to gauge both of you, but we'll save that. So Mac, top level bird's eye view. What are your impressions on this?
So now that I have doubled the amount of characters that I play from 1 to 2, I was able to get a much wider breadth understanding of the changes in the patch notes. I wanted to color that kind of state, that kind of, it's still going to be barbs that you said there, Nerdboy, right? Where it goes, I don't think that people necessarily understand the math of it, so I'm going to very quickly break it down. The best Warlock build at any given time during this past season realistically did a 138 in the tower, not in the pit. In the pit, you go significantly further because it's literally 50% longer. But a 138, a barb had done 150, and the barb wasn't exploiting. The rogue was exploiting, and that's why the rogue was able to do a 150. But the difference between the strongest build doing a 150 and the strongest build doing a 138 is 28 times the total amount of damage output. So it's you take your damage and you add a 0 to it, and then you nearly triple it, and that's how much more damage a barbarian was doing than the top Warlock build. And a 138 is already astronomically high amounts of damage.
Right.
You only need to be able to do about a 120 to be able to trivialize all T12 content, including T12 Mephisto. So if you're doing from a 120 to a 138, and then the person doing a 150 is doing 28 times your damage, even if they were to decimate, meaning to break it down to a 10th, the barbarian would still be doing triple the damage of the strongest Warlock build. So from the people who better understand the Warlock, or better understand the barbarian, and better understand a lot of the changes across the classes than I do, basically the power level that they were being brought down to was closer to Earth but still in the stratosphere. That being said, my conservative estimates for the Warlock put multiple builds being able to successfully run a 151 pit. Or 151 tower. So that's probably too strong. I found myself many times over, because we have this privilege, straight up just DMing the lead dev for the Warlock and going, so this can't be right? Like you did an oopsie, like you did a mess up. And well, I can't share what they said. There was a lot of laugh reacts. And the thing that I would like to do for people is that I'm both wildly excited for people to finally try the Warlock. The moment that something isn't, you click one button and blow up the screen, everybody goes hands off, right? Everybody is like, ugh, this isn't Dance of Knives, this isn't Whirlwind Barb, this isn't Ball Lightning in many different seasons. Why would I click 2 buttons when there's 6 buttons, ostensibly 7 with your evade? I assume that a lot of power is going to be kind of rescinded after the PTR, because I think it's going to prove to just be like way too much. But if you had bounced off the Warlock, or if you found the Warlock to be a little bit too clunky, a little bit too much outside of your wheelhouse, short of them deleting this character, I think season 15 is very much going to be the season to play this character. I think it very well may have its Spiritborn. It very well may have its Paladin Day in the Sun. Not broken, because we're past release. This is now balance, and we're trying to balance it to the point where you're rewarded for it being more complex. You're rewarded for it being a more invested playstyle. It has a viscerality that I haven't experienced since I was playing Barbarian back in the closed beta, like all the way back. My secret favorite secondary class is the Barbarian in Diablo 4, which is what makes it so heart-wrenching when it's so objectively overtuned, because gear is overpowered in Diablo 4 and they can equip 3 more items than us, them being the strongest items in the game. So my initial feedback is I think they're hiding a lot that has to do with this season. Like, we're not going to talk about BlizzCon. We're not doing that. I do need to talk about this mailbox they just put out there and just tried to gaslight us about. They're like, hey, you know how we have to send you stuff all the time? Now you have a mailbox. And I went, you've never sent me anything. Ever?
Yeah.
That's actually never happened. And what you just said is crazy. And they're like, yeah, man, all this stuff, we got to send you all of it.
Well, okay. So
here's a mailbox that looks ripped out of Stormwind. Here it is.
Since we're there, it makes
Guys,
sense. What's the logical expectation for a mailbox?
Asynchronous trade. Eat your heart out, PoE. No, but sincerely, it's like an auction house or something. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. It has to be.
That the first thing I said when I saw it was like, that's an auction house. And they don't want to talk about it because that's a reveal. But
dude, I just walked by Onyxia's head. I just took a left to make sure I dropped off everything in the bank. I grabbed those mats I wanted to sell off, and I went over to the very nice people up on the stage in Stormwind, and then I put them up in the auction house. I got an instant sale. I walked over. I got some gold. It's an auction house mailbox. They've never sent us anything ever. Yeah. It's insane. The write-up for it is the funniest. Hey, fellow Diablo players, you know me, I'm the mailbox. I'm like, you've never been here, don't you gaslight me?
Yeah, sometimes we need to give you stuff, and it would just be so much easier if we...
Resources, commemorative plates. They said commemorative twice. I was like, what does commemorative mean in this context?
As opposed to, all the other ways you get your stuff normally, like through the reliquary, or when you forgot to pick up some loot and it's just in your stash. No, we didn't solve this problem yet. So here's something.
I ain't never got one letter in this game. Not never. Ain't never happened. Ain't nobody ever written MacroBioBoi on a 2-line. It's never happened, guys. And I don't want to get too excited though, because I have been screaming like a feral cat from the rooftops, put an auction house in this game. It's obscene that it's 2026 in a modern ARPG and we don't have a mailbox. We don't have an auction house. So if it's something else, I'll be pissed.
I think in some ways, though, that is Diablo 4 paying, in some ways, penance for Diablo 3, right? They had to walk back a Diablo 3 auction house. Granted, very different than what I think the general expectation is. But since they had to walk that back, there was a lot of reticence to launching Diablo 4 with an auction house. I just don't think you wanted to tread that news story over again. But if you're doing it right, we've already seen Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile. It works totally well. It's very easy. It's very nice. I love being able to just open up an item, hold down triangle, and it'll compare it. It'll bring it right up on the auction house. I can find similar items. That would be lovely. Granted, I'm still probably just gonna play solo self-found, but I love that everybody.
It's just better.
Yeah,
It's
everybody.
a strictly better way to play the game.
Yeah, it'll make everybody else's life easier. So that would be great. Good for them and their mysterious mailbox that's totally not a hint at anything else. Are we wrong, Nerdwords?
I hope you're not. I hope you're not, because like you, I think, and maybe I'm just crazy. I don't. I hope that that's where it's going, but if it doesn't, the disappointment would be palpable. It's kind of like what Macro said, right? Like if it's not that, then I don't know what else it could be. I hope that that's what it is. We need it. We've needed it for a long time. But I play actively with people every day when I play, right? Like I only play with people. In fact, I don't play if I'm by myself. I don't like solo self-found. That's not my thing. I don't trade ever, right? Unless like a friend drops an item that's useful for me. Hey, could you use these gloves? Yeah, I could tweak them in the cube or whatever, right? Like, but I don't do a lot of active trading like with strangers or on, external websites. My friends do, and that's coming back to the barbarian thing, why it was so key for me, because I have one friend who always plays barbarian. It was noticeable from the jump of the season, and by the end of the season I'm the only one not playing barbarian. So was to kind of bring that back. But I hope it is auction house. I really hope it is. But there's a lot of functionality you can get out of a mailbox in a game like Diablo, like we've seen in World of Warcraft and many other things, like ways to send. I mean, we're coming up on the 30th anniversary of Diablo, right? So like ways to send commemorative items, ways to maybe better streamline, like getting Twitch drops and things like that too, that have been problems in the past too. Like there's a lot of things that they can do with it that might help from a functionality standpoint, but there's gotta be something big tied to it to make it worth the investment.
Okay.
And I hope it's an auction house.
Here's what I got. Here's the only other thing I'll accept, and I'm putting out there, so I now have two chances of not being wrong. We're getting, so the game has an achievement system.
Mm-hmm.
You've never clicked it. You never have, because why would you? The only time you ever click it is to go see how many goblins you've killed, and it isn't 6,666,666. I legitimately believe that one of the biggest draws for me to return to World of Warcraft all the time was the achievement system.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's like the big, it's not Easter, but there's a big Easter event, and there's rabbits and eggs, and oh, I didn't get the mount because I didn't do the achievement. Oh, next year I'll do it, right? And if they wanted to really do a big overhaul on the achievement system and really tie things to it other than titles, it's like, oh, you do whatever the goblin thing is, and now you get the goblin pet, but he's gold. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do the Insano mode goblin hunt to get a gold goblin. And if they want to tie it into like a big selling point of that thing, and like everybody shows up and all of a sudden like your mailbox was full with all the retroactive achievements you've already gotten and the stuff you get from that, I could see that serving that purpose. Do they want to serve like in-game surveys that way? Sure, why not? Because people like don't check their email, but they would go check the mail because it has a big yellow exclamation point over it. I think that's I think that's like a very far down the line, good enough secondary reason. But I need it to be asynchronous trade. Do you know why trading sucks in Diablo? It's because you have to go to a third-party website to do it. We have to do this in Diablo 2 still. Right. And that's insane. Guys, it's 2026. I shouldn't have to. This shouldn't be revolutionary information. And I'm coming from playing Diablo 2 since I was 9. Right. You know, that's why I don't care if this season has nothing in it, because seasons never had anything in them. You just went again and you got your first Shaco and you were excited.
Yep.
but it's got to be something very cool that would be worth showing off on the BlizzCon stage to like kind of recontextualize it.
I mean, maybe not as a highlight, but at least as an additive of like, oh, and this and this. Like, I don't think you lead with Auction House, but it could be a nice like, oh, we're working this into whatever. There's got to be. We've been speculating, and I think
Yep.
the logic around BlizzCon is there's a few things. Diablo 2 expansion.
Oh, there's gotta be.
Yeah.
And oh, let me just say right off the bat, I do not know anything.
No,
I need that to be understood. This is all speculation. I've never been told anything. I don't know anything.
Yeah,
there's gotta be an expansion coming.
Yeah. We don't know anything because, like, honestly, they're so close. They shouldn't tell anybody in our orbit anything because it would just be bad. Somebody would fuck it up. But Diablo 2 expansion, Diablo 4 expansion, Diablo 5 announcement. Those are the three, with Diablo 5 being very, very low, but could possibly happen. But I think if it is a Diablo 4 expansion and being able to kind of highlight like, all right, this is where we're going, and then hey, guess what? Part of this will be an auction house, will be, I don't know, new Paragon system, or whatever else. That's where I feel like it would have a nice place to be. And like, oh, and you've already,
Sure.
and guess what? We're already turning it on. You don't even need to buy the expansion because the auction house goes live in season 15.
They crushed this last expansion release.
Yeah.
Like they really did. Be a Diablo hater, right? Like hate how much I shill. No problem with that. We got the Paladin early. We got 2 classes. The story was good. The content was fun. It fixed everything. The cube was back. Like, it legitimately took Diablo 4 from you're either a diehard fan or you hate this game to Diablo 4 is a good ARPG in the genre. And if you'd like to enjoy a game that has that pedigree and has that esteem, it's there for you. It fully transitioned us to that point.
Right.
And it set a precedent. It really did. The preceding season that had the secret bosses with the Asmodean secret boss, and then you did all the things, and all of a sudden you got Uber bosses and a secret dark realm, and that was setting up the Nemesis portal stuff because now we have that all the time, right? With the war plans, and they just kind of like they I don't know, dude. They turned on the Blizzard magic. They turned on the Diablo. Right. They went, oh, we didn't set it to Diablo. We should have set it to Diablo before. And they knocked it out of the park. The last BlizzCon was the expansion launch for Vessel of Hatred. We're talking 2023. So they need they probably should have a big to reveal. Diablo 5 is crazy though. I assume this game's going to get expansions for 10 years and we're going to get sick. It's going to become a meme. How many expansions for this game we're going to get?
That is where I would disagree with you because Blizzard is owned by Microsoft and Microsoft needs wins. Diablo 4 expansion 3 does not sell like Diablo 5.
You really made me very sad for a second there. You just said a very sobering concept.
I know.
I also think that Microsoft is a bit out of.
They need that.
But Microsoft is also pretty out of its depth, and I think that's what points to it trying to buy all the people who are good at making video games because they went, dude, we did Halo, and I don't know what else, man. We did it. We did Master Chief. You love him. We tried to make Cortana AI. Remember that? That sucked. So I think you're not wrong. I also think a little bit. I think people like Blizzard.
Right.
I think people like Gabe get to be like, hey, actually, shut up, the adults are talking for like a hot second. We've been doing games since before you guys were making motherboards in some cases. Like,
right.
Do you know what I mean? So
no, I'm not.
That's my copium. Actually, I just got very sad for a hot second.
I do think we see Diablo 5 sooner than what we had to wait for Diablo 4. The other thing that I would maybe put on the list would be and I think we've talked about this too, and I should have brought it up right out the gate, would be a Diablo 1 remaster. I think that also has a lot of logic.
That's what I think. Like legitimately, they are hyping up it's Diablo again. Hey guys, remember Diablo? It's kind of one of the greatest games ever. You guys really loved that little mini DLC we put out. Diablo 2 expansion with Diablo 1 remastered.
Mm-hmm.
Buy them both. They're both $60. I'd buy 18 copies of it if I could. If you let me run like in Hellfire, I'll buy 20 copies, and I will personally make sure every single person who owns a computer will get this game. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody should play Diablo 1.
Oh, 100%. We are completely off base now, though, because we dovetailed into BlizzCon speculation, which is totally fine. But let's go back to what we do know, which is these PTR notes. Let's talk about these splinters. So I want to bring them up here quickly. We are getting, as I talked about before, the most recent season, not very additive. We didn't even get new items. There were no new skills. We just got mythics all over the place eventually. Now we're getting a couple of new things. So first we got the splinters, and we'll go into these other unique items in a second, but let's run through them quickly. We got the splinter of the Black Soulstone, and I won't break down the all stats, but killing enemies absorbs a soul for 15 seconds. Each soul increases your damage by X, but increases your damage taken by a %. The effect stacks but does not refresh. We got Splinter of Pain, which increases poison resistance. You gain X% damage reduction, but you lose movement speed. Splinter of the Mother, we're getting physical resistance. You are unhindered. Touching enemies makes them vulnerable for 10 seconds after touching 100 X enemies. Sure. Oh yeah, it is. Got it. I was looking for a %. X enemies, you are stunned for 4 seconds. Splinter of Hellfire, resistance to all elements. You deal X% increased damage, but you lose 100% critical strike chance. And then the Splinter of Damnation, shadow resistance. Killing an elite pack increases monster power by 1 for X seconds. I think it's going to be good, Mac. You do the math, right?
They put in a splinters.
Are they gonna rock?
So they are strictly better than gems that you can put into your jewelry. They also revealed the Crown of King Leoric, which is a new legacy unique. And the way that they're translating its power is that you get gem strength, basically. But it's a helmet that counts as jewelry. And we have official clarification from the developers on the inside that we're able to talk about publicly that because it counts as jewelry, you'll be able to put 2 splinters into your helmet. So there will be builds that run 5 splinters. Now, the interesting thing about the splinters, especially the one that you said that doubles your damage, but you lose crit. That's made for damage over time builds. And damage over time builds typically suffer a little bit because they can't crit. Right. But what if you had a piece of jewelry that said you do double damage, almost like you crit? I think there will be builds that will need to run 5 splinters just because they are that powerful. I think giving up a few affixes to offset their loss of like movement speed, or if you have no other way of gaining unstoppable or unhindered, all of a sudden you have this one. They're very powerful. They're going to be very good. One of the great examples says that like you have like basically like extra gold find, extra material find, extra experience gain, but you're permanently vulnerable and weakened. Well, that's fine. I can survive the damage in Helltide, and I don't care because I'm going to one-shot every monster. So I slot this jewel in when I'm trying to get to that, Paragon 300 doing the Helltide Worm strategy or whatever. I am incredibly excited to get powers again. Sincerely. People memed on powers, and then we didn't have powers for a bunch of seasons, and it was like, man, my build just has to be good because of the balance of my character in the same universe where we continuously meme that like they can't actually balance these characters. What if we just had very strong powers and then they just made it feel good to play the game? How sick would that be? And they're very reminiscent of even season 1 with the Malignant Hearts. You would socket these hearts into your jewelry and get the stuff, and it's another one of those blast from the pasts. Now, I do think we're going to see Malthael. And I think that's part of the secret. Because if you actually look at the full list, I think we have 8 total splinters. Like, I think there's splinters in that section And then if you scroll down a bit, there's just some more, just kind of like after a picture for no reason. Very interesting structure on the patch notes. But I think they all kind of point to one of the 7 prime and lesser evils, and then we have the splinter of the Black Soulstone.
Yep.
His thing. And the boss from this season does, when you kill her, say he's coming.
He is coming.
And who would the Reaper be referring to other than Malthael? And if we know that something big, not to go back to BlizzCon, if we know that something big is coming at BlizzCon, and the devs needed to be able to pump out some stuff to be able to fill in this time, if that's the idea of like why this last season was kind of light, if we literally got reused assets 2.0 for the Realm Walker, reusing Malthael would save a lot of time on development and animations and art and all that, and be pretty cool. And I think the D3 crowd would be happy. And I think the splinters are good. I think they're going to be interesting in a lot of builds. Most of the times we end up just going, how much power can I stack on my character? It doesn't care if I'm weakened and vulnerable and slow and whatever, because I need to get one more pit tier, so that's fine. And I'm just hoping that they are interesting to get. They did say we'll be able to like Haradra cube them, so we'll be able to upgrade them. So now we're seeing seasonal content being malleable inside of the core structures of crafting, which I think is very good. We need to see more of that. I think the cube should change every season. The cube it gets a little, you put a little doodad on it, and now it does a double spin, and the double spin is how we get mythics or whatever it is. So I think they'll be good. I'm not sure they'll be super interesting unless getting them is very fun. That's my reservation.
I think that's fair. Nerds, what was your reaction to the splinters?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, immediately I look at these things as use cases, and so for me as a sorcerer, I don't care about movement speed because I teleport everywhere. It's harder to do that, but you can still get there, right? So for me, that one, huge damage reduction at the cost of movement speed, yes, please. I really like pushing the pit. I don't compete because I just don't have the time, but typically if I'm playing and I'm not grinding war plans, I'm grinding pit or grinding tower, right, to have fun with it. And you don't care about movement speed there, man. It doesn't matter, right? For that, it's how much can you output, how much can you survive. And we're gonna need every little bit as Sorks going into the next season. So I see that one's on my radar right away. Of course, the damage one feels like it's necessary, and playing the Warlock and kind of setting yourself on fire to do more damage. I'm used to that concept at this point, which is a very cool concept. So I definitely see, some use there too. So we'll see. I think we're a stone's throw away from getting Bane of the Stricken. Which just give me Bane of the Stricken. We all need it. Yep. We all want it. It would make pit pushing and tower pushing so much more fun and better. So give me Bane of the Stricken, right? Like that's the one thing from Diablo 3 that I think most of the people that played Diablo 3 a long time are like, okay, when are we getting Stricken? Because the biggest problem right now, like I'll tell you, like I can do 130, 135, 140 on my Sork this season. It's still a challenge, and like I have to unslot the Butcher out of my pit. Because if I get the Butcher, I'm fucked. That's it. I cannot. A 140 Butcher in the pit.
Can't touch that, dude.
Can't do shit, right?
He humbles you real quick.
Yeah, so if I get really unlucky, right, and like, I mean, usually it's really lucky, right? You get a Butcher right away and the pit's over. Well, it's still over, but I die, and then I get no upgrades, and I'm like, oh, cool, this is dope. So we need a Stricken, right? And then are we going to start talking about like the other legendary gems that existed? And then does that whole system sort of wholesale come into Diablo 4 with a new iteration? I'd love to see it. I like what this could lead to. I'm not wowed by the initial presentation, but that's how it works. They give us a little bit, we test it, we play with it, we see how it works, what's good, what's bad, and then they expand the iteration. And so that gives me a lot of hope and a lot of excitement. So I still think, and I know this is a hot take, especially for Path fans, that there are too many goddamn systems in this game, and we keep adding more systems. I have a girlfriend who loves Diablo, and I have to like onboard her every season. Like, okay, so here's the new stuff. Here's what you want to grind. But I just want to run around and smash stuff with my Warlock. Cool, I'll show you how to do that. Right, let's go. But you need to know, right, here's how the new Mythic system works. Wait, what's a Mythic? Okay, so here's, like, she's been playing this whole game, and she's never had a Mythic drop. She does not play the game for that reason. She loves to grind and just mindlessly run around the Helltide and kill stuff, and she could do that for months with no progress. she's the kind of gamer that plays Candy Crush on her phone and plays Luminous on the Xbox all the time. She loves those kind of games, and Diablo is a different kind of that for her. But it gives me a lot of excitement. I just hope that we have a good way to onboard people as we continue to add more systems. My only worry is that it sort of takes people out of it if they don't have the mental capacity or time to understand those systems. This one doesn't seem very challenging right now, but I only say that tentatively because I know how complicated and complex it can get.
Can I very quickly say, I do think we would all just be much happier and enjoy our lives more if we were all just running around the Helltide, just crushing stuff all the time, and literally,
it's a 10 out of 10 game for her.
not a measure of competency, not a measure of intelligence. Just like, this I like doing this, so I'll do this, and this.
I just want to keep doing this, and that's it. Oh, I don't want to do bosses. I don't want to do Undercity. I don't want to do Pit. I just want to go fight people in the Helltide. And how do I get better at that? Okay, she'll just save up a stash filled with equipment, and then I'll spend my night. We'll lay in bed, and I'll just go through all of our equipment. Okay, here's some good stuff. Here's some good stuff. Here's what you want to save. And then a couple days later, do it again, right? And then just keep upgrading her character as we go. And she loves that. Like, it's fun time for us. But she just, she doesn't care about the overarching story. She doesn't care about the pushing the hardest content. She's never even seen Lilith in fight form, like ever. And she loves the game. It's her favorite game.
This is the way. Sincerely,
this is the way.
If we all just did that, be infinitely happier.
Yep,
would be easier.
100%.
Whereas, like, my character dies, like, fuck, I gotta do war plans again.
Oh, and you're right. God, like, you have to redo war plans every time.
Yep.
Yeah, Mac, I do.
Yeah, I would have uninstalled, boss. I would have been like, well, it was a good time. Have you guys heard of Diablo 2? It's a pretty cool game.
Yeah, so I'm as my character dies, I'm like, fuck, there's the war plans. I would love to just sit in Helltide, but then mentally I'm just like, nope. I'm gonna go do first tier war plan stuff for a bit. Then I think that's a change that needs to happen down the road. All right. So we got the splinters. I will echo your sentiment, Mac. When I saw them at first, I was very much thinking Malignant Hearts. It echoed a lot of that. I think the Diablo at the time and the Diablo we have now are very different. But I think Malignant Hearts and this system fit a lot better than what we used to have. Whereas it felt the game needed more addition than just a few gems. Whereas, the last expansion put the game in a very, very good place where something additive like this feels good. And having a PTR to kind of suss out the details to make sure that they're all operating in those particular situations will make everything feel better. And I'm very excited for this, as opposed to absolutely hating the Malignant Heart season. But I digress. And I'm getting a little choked up here because it's very emotional. Thinking back to season 1. When I had some luscious locks, I pushed aside my silky bangs to host this show, and no, I've been bald the whole time. It's fine. In tandem with our item, or with the splinters, we are getting, and you talked about it, Mac, legacy uniques. And I'm curious to see where you guys are going to fall on this, because we're given the list. We were given a few of them to actually look at, but we got, as you mentioned, Leoric's Crown, the Nemesis Bracers, which we'll talk about that one. Stone of Jordan, Squirt's Blouse. Way to go, Squirt.
Somehow worse than Squirt's necklace, right?
Yeah.
So much worse.
It's giving early 90s bad story president. It's not good. Yeah. It's bad. Yeah. It's a bad time. Why
We're talking about the blouse of an actual child?
Why do we keep talking? Why was he wearing a blouse?
Well,
because he wasn't. I saw him. It was a tunic. We need to talk about this one-legged kid.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Wirt. No, this is Squirt.
Squirt.
Which is worse because it's a little girl.
I did conflate them.
Literally a little girl's blouse.
Oh, I'll first off, one, I just lost my nerd cred, so I'm so very sorry. I did conflate the two.
No,
In my head,
that's fine.
Squirt's been this entire time. Squirt is a child girl.
Vendor from Act
Yeah.
2 in
Diablo 3.
Diablo
Yeah.
3.
She's a little girl.
She sells these.
She has both of her legs though.
We need to move on, actually. We need to say some other unique item names. This is messed up. I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like Squirt's blouse in general. I would agree that even if you got there incorrectly, Squirt's tunic sounds better.
Sounds better.
Right.
Sounds better. Everybody's gotten something on their tunic. That's all. Like, that's what I got. All right.
And then, so those are class agnostic, and then the ones that are going to hit different actual classes, Ariok's Needle, Henry's Perquisition, which are little cat focus, great. Ingeome, which is just
challenging because we have Eldruin.
I was gonna say it's just Eldruin, but it's one-handed, right? The Furnace, which I'm super intrigued by.
Wait, Eldruin's also one-handed.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought
it's one-handed
was two-handed. I guess I haven't.
Nope. It's literally in Geom, almost copied over from Diablo 3. That's why it's confusing.
That's why
I didn't know what Ingeome was.
Yeah.
Because I didn't play D3. Everybody's like, "Oh, this is Ingeome," and I went, "No, that says Eldruin." They went, "No, this is literally an item. It's literally an item in Diablo 3." I went, "Oh, okay, sure." Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And then they're like, and we're going back to back. Why? So rogues and barbs can dual wield? I don't know. I don't understand the purpose.
Yeah. It seems odd. But we got the Furnace, and then we got Messerschmitt's Reaver. So some cool things there. Is there anything that we didn't, because we got the little preview, we saw Leoric, we saw Henry's, and then we saw the Nemesis Bracers. Was there anything in there that you are particularly intrigued by?
I'm going to say two things. One, I did the math on Henry's Perquisition. It's bad. Two, no. So for people who haven't seen it, right? For people who are not this dialed in, because why would you be? It gives you a large percentage of dexterity, and then it gives you a multiplier for, or it gives you a huge amount of your core stat equal to your dexterity. So for the Necromancer, you go from basically 2100 intelligence if you reroute everything through dexterity and put in dexterity gems to 5500 intelligence. It's like, wow, that's a lot of intelligence. And if you do the math, it ends up being about an 85% damage multiplier. And it's like you put an aspect on an offhand that says 85% damage multiplication. But you took an affix slot, meaning one of the stats on the piece of gear, to do this dexterity nonsense rather than just putting a crit damage multiplier on. So I think these numbers basically need to be doubled there. And I don't really want to hang a lantern on it. That's just like a level of math that doesn't matter to normal human beings. I think that Leoric's Crown and Nemesis Bracers are what unique items in the game should be. Hard stop. I think unique items saying your skill does 4x damage and fires twice is lame as hell. I think it continues to pigeonhole us into only ever building out one skill that is the only thing that does damage. And if it's not good at hitting the whole screen and killing a boss, then your build is trash. That's the problem with Diablo 4. It's been the problem the entire time. The moment that we started building into a unique that makes one skill do double the damage of anything else is the point that the game got ruined, sincerely. Like I'm a weird purist about this, I guess. I think that aspects are bad, and I think that unique items are bad. That's why I don't like the mythic changes. But Nemesis Bracers, you get an elite when you click a shrine. Now those Nightmare Dungeon sigils that say channeled shrines is the benefit. Okay, I get extra elites. There's a war plan node that says every 25 times that you kill an elite, you get a little altar. There's a new war plan node that says every time that you get an altar, it summons goblins. There's a war plan node that says when you kill a goblin, you have a chance to go to Goblin Land. Okay, these gloves say drastically increase the chances of you going to Goblin Land, a thing I've never been to because I've never been lucky enough. That's awesome. Leoric's Crown saying increases gem strength, counts as jewelry. Now you can put in
jewelry is wild. Yeah.
Insane amount of, because that means that gems in it give resistance as opposed to main stat. And maybe that's enough damage reduction for you with strong enough gems to be stronger than a defensive aspect. That's cool. That's cool as hell. What if every unique was cool as hell and wasn't a skill does 3x damage? So have fun trying to make any other skill work. So I'm very interested to see what these other items do. Ariok's Needle, classically from Diablo 2, gave you skill ranks and Deadly Strike. It was basically critical strike chance, and did an exceptionally high amount of damage on the weapon. Messerschmitt's Reaver, which apparently had a Diablo 3 version of it as well, but in Diablo 2 was just an F ton of damage on an axe. It just said, hello, I do the most damage at the time. Obviously, it got outclassed later on. But I'm very excited to see what these things do, especially if they're going to continue to be these niche, weird, unique, build around kind of concepts rather than you do 2x damage. And it's like, cool. I would like to put on these bracers to go speed farm and get all my resources from this escalating nightmare dungeon I'm doing, etc.
Have you seen the Messerschmitt from Diablo 3? What it did?
No, yeah. So what does it do?
That's why it's wild, because it could go very different directions depending on what they do. Diablo 3 had basic stats, right? But the affix on it was reduce the remaining cooldown of all of your skills by 1 second every time you slay an enemy. I need you to think about that. Reduce the cooldown of your skills by 1 second when you slay an enemy, not an elite, an enemy.
Okay, so this is this is a very cool concept. Is this not a third Ingeome just hit Diablo 4? Okay, all right, because it sounds like
Diablo
Eldruin.
3, in Diablo 3, just speaking on, it's been a while, but you kind of used one or the other for a speed build, right? So like you had your push build, and then you just throw on Ingeome to just bounce around regular rifts and things like that. And Messerschmitt's Reaver became the two-handed option for that, because it's two-handed, whereas the Ingeome was one-handed. So it was a two-handed option that was a little different functionally. But let's say you were really good at killing normal monsters but not elites, Messerschmitt's was then better. If you were more of an elite farmer, then you'd go for Ingeome, right? So it could create sort of a dichotomy like that, to where no matter what, there's a massive cooldown reduction. You wouldn't use it for pit pushing probably, but maybe for running around Helltide, things like that.
Yeah.
Or they could go a whole different direction with it. Who knows? You know?
Or you could just be a barbarian and put on both.
That's it. Or that. I forgot. Or that.
Yeah. Are we just going to complain? Because I'll do it the whole time. I wouldn't mind just complaining about the barbarian. Actually, the entire time.
We could do a whole.
We could do a separate.
Xanth has spent
separate barb. Yeah, a barb cast, please.
Yeah,
for BlizzCon 4. Yeah.
God, I briefly dipped my toes into streaming. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a streamer now.
Hell yeah.
We love that.
It was 5 minutes on YouTube. I was testing, and anybody who pays attention to the channel, I do have some intent to do a little bit of streaming, but I was testing things out, and in 5 minutes, all I did was give a little spiel. I showed off the hardcore solo self-found leaderboards. I got to Barbarian. I was like, and honestly, I really don't give a shit about this one. This is my least favorite class. Some people like it. So within 5 minutes of streaming, I was already just shitting on barbs, as is the way. So,
and then 4 minutes passed and you turned off the stream. Yeah,
like I've said all I need to say is really in 5 minutes I accomplished everything I need to do in my streaming career. It was impressive. Okay, yeah, we can't just bag on barbs.
Yeah, we can't.
But I do like the thought that everything's an Ingeome. That's it. That's how we solve itemization. If everything's an Ingeome, then we're good to go. I personally am really curious about Stone of Jordan.
I was going to say that's the one I'm most curious about, because all skills actually matters in Diablo 4 and it didn't in Diablo 3.
Right.
That ring was not good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great in Diablo 3 because of the skills didn't matter as much. Like plus skill ranks was not a thing. So if they put in a ring that comes stock with like 1 to 3 all skills, that's BIS for everybody. Like almost everyone's going to use that. I don't know.
It's very interesting. I was trying to think of it. Well, it can't just say that, right? Because there's actually like there are some builds where like if you get enough plus skills on your charms and stuff, sure, plus plus three skills is always good, but it sometimes would be less than like a critical strike damage multiplier, depending on what the rest of your gear looks like and if you were trying to min max. And I was because people are asking me like, well, what could Stone of Jordan do? I was like, well, if it's the D2 one, it gives percentage max resource, so it could be almost like a fit in, because Selig, Melted Heart of Selig is basically Energy Shield from Diablo 2. Not exactly, but basically. And Stone of Jordan could fit into that, where it could be an alternative version of Energy Shield in that way. Because the best build to use Stone of Jordan is a Nova Sorceress. Everybody can use it, but Nova Sorceress is the best one to use
favorite.
Because it's an Energy Shield build. And it's just it's insane for that build, right? And I went, oh, it could like finally be an alternative to Melted Heart of Selig, which was where I really got on this like big energy swell of keep just making interesting uniques, like sincerely just do weird stuff with them. I don't think Path of Exile has it completely figured out, because they'll put a unique into the game and it won't do anything for 10 years. Diablo 4 can't afford to do that. Like sincerely, it just can't, right? Or Mother's Embrace can keep existing. I don't know, maybe they'll prove me wrong. But you could put an item into the game that's just weirdly... Melted Heart of Selig sucked until about a year and a half ago, and now the Barbarian has been immortal. And I'm not dovetailing back into Barbarian.
But
you can put an item into the game that's just very interesting, that keeps begging people to try to fit it into builds. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does this, maybe it doesn't. But Stone of Jordan needs to bang, dude. Like Stone of Jordan needs... I want it to be the new Starless. Like I want it to be the new Starless Skies, because it has to. You can't do the Stone of Jordan dirty, or at least you can at this point. You've lost all cachet if apparently the Diablo 3 version wasn't good, because this it's the item. It's like this and Arcane's Valor and the Grandfather and Windforce. Like those are the legacy items that like they just need to bang hard the whole time.
Stone of Jordan in Diablo 3 was not nearly as iconic as Diablo 2, so it does like lose a little bit of that luster. But I think everybody who remembers Diablo 2 holds on to what the Stone of Jordan was, and I would hope, in how we've seen a lot of Diablo 2 kind of resonate into D4, that's what we're seeing with this Stone of Jordan.
I will say, Xanth, while it wasn't as good in Diablo 3, and you're completely right,
I know
some of the things on the ring in Diablo 3 in Diablo 4 would be busted. Like if you remember, one of the things from Diablo 3 version of Stone of Jordan was a 25x multiplier against elites. If we're getting Nemesis bracers, right? So like there is something like if they did like a 1 to all skills, something with the energy shield piece, like you're talking about, like macro, where like 5%, 10% of your damage goes to your energy or your mana, whatever it is for your character, and then also a 10x, 25x multiplier against elites. That's a pretty interesting piece that I'm going to at least play with and see what happens, you know? So I don't know. I think they could marry the two and make something really cool. But it's got to pay homage to Diablo 2. It has to. The one in Diablo 3 did not at all, and that was a mistake. And this one needs to, but it can still bring in some of that stuff from Diablo 3 that they did that was really good.
Can I be arguably the nerdiest I've been ever on the podcast ever for one quick thing?
Yeah, by all means.
Ariok's Needle inside of Diablo 2 has always been an incredibly interesting weapon and has literally almost never seen use. You would always put it onto like a mercenary just because +4 ranks to a skill for your aura was particularly strong. But Ariok's Needle legitimately did not have a home. It was always a very powerful item, but it wasn't anything to write home about. When they released the Warlock in Diablo 2 Resurrected, Ariok's Needle was the best in slot weapon for the Warlock, because of a unique combination of plus to skills and the Deadly Strike, and how the strongest build called Echoing Strike worked with all of this.
Yeah.
They have since changed that class, but Ariok's Needle still serves the purpose of being a very, very good, mid to late game option if you were to happen to find it. Ariok's Needle can't be equipped by a Warlock in Diablo 4 because it's a polearm. So it's going to be Barb. Can Spiritborn use pole arms?
Yes.
Right? So it's going to be Spiritborn and Barb. I'm lobbying. Here's my one cry. Change it to something a warlock can equip, because that would be the best continuity between the two games. That's it. That's all I got. That's for the other people out there who are just like, hey, wait a minute. Hey, that doesn't make a lot of sense. The moment I saw that, I went, wait, but my echoing strike warlock. And I'll leave that there. That's for like the two people who understand what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm sure they feel just as passionate. But again, it goes to Barbarian. So that's just what it is. And I think we should make it a rule that they don't get to use Stone of Jordan. Every class
can't put it on,
right?
Can't put it on. Too magic. They get angry, like Advanced D&D, where the Barbarian breaks magic items. They go, "What this?" and punch it. You know,
that
cannot cast spells while raging.
Yeah. Maybe there's something there. Maybe that's how we break them on down. All right, so we got new items, which is cool. We got mythic unique crafting changes, which I think is just logic, right? We're gonna.
It's good. People are gonna be mad, but it's good. It's what it should have been.
Yeah, it's also, I think, meant to be the last resort. Just dump your whatever's left over, right? Like, make use out of all the sparks I have right now that I can't craft with right now, right? Like, just dump them. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. It was what we kind of expected it was going to be anyway. And hey, look, we listened. And then mythic unique charms, a whole bunch of charms I'm never going to find. So that's
You're never gonna find. I'm never gonna find the boss, homie. I got like 300 something ish hours. I'm never gonna find them, which I do think is a good thing. And I think people aren't gonna like that, but it's okay. I think your opinion's wrong, and I think you think bad things about video games. I think it's cool to have a thing where it's like, oh damn, yeah, I got one. Aw, sick, dude. Like, even the top push doesn't have one because it's a random drop in the world.
Yeah.
It's finally like what original Mythic should have been, which is like, dude, there's like 10 dudes who got a Shaco, and they're just very lucky people. They're not even the top pushers. They just happen to find one.
Yeah.
I think charms are a nice place for that kind of rarity, because I don't think chase uniques works in Diablo at the moment. It just kind of the way the itemization has been laid out, that where would the gates be to go and grind it, and like to make that kind of work back, especially when there are so many items that are, as you mentioned before, build enabling, and they really don't want to do that. Whereas charms, you don't need them. You can get the item, you can equip it, you can wear it. But yeah, that mythic one, that's going to be random. That's going to be on, your 20th tier 10 Mephisto, or it's going to be in your 50th hour in a Helltide. Like, all of those things are open, and that's where you're going to find them. I would love that. I think that would just be great.
Can't agree more. Honestly, I'm one of those people, again, coming from Diablo 2. I've never dropped a Tyrael's Might. Not even the rarest item. I've dropped rarer items than Tyrael's Might. I've dropped an Ethereal Death's Web. I've never seen a Tyrael's Might. And I've played that game since I was 9. And I'm like, oh, so yeah, one day I might see it. Do you know how stoked I'm going to be? I'm going to tear off my shirt, Alex style, and I'm going to make it work. Mr. Llama style, right? I'm going to make it work, right? So these things, when I first heard about them, I was like, is that like really where it should be? But what you just said is perfectly salient. They kind of can't do ultra hard to find uniques because they're build enabling. And you can just find a unique and turn it into a charm, and you have a perfectly viable version of that item. And if you happen to find the mythic charm version of it, hell yeah, brother. Right. I have this level of power other people just don't have, and it's because I put in the work and I did it, or maybe I just got super lucky and now my season's awesome. I think that's totally a very, very like organic place to experience that up and down and still have that, freak out moment.
Are we wrong, Nerdwords? Should it not be like that?
No, I think it absolutely should be. One of my biggest problems.
Opinion. No, you're devil's advocate.
Sorry.
Can you fight? Can you fight it? Can you say?
I think that
die on this hill for us.
I can't do that because I agree, and I also think that I honestly, like, even in decisions that I don't necessarily agree with, like, they've gone through so many iterations in so many different systems, but especially Mythic Uniques, that, like, I wish they had kept up some of their tent poles. I really wish the development team had kept some of those tent poles. And so I completely agree. I think there should be some items that you never see. I played Diablo 2 since I was also a kid, Mac, and I have not dropped a Tyrael's Might, along with many other items, but I played the hell out of that game. And continue to, right? Like with ladder resets and things like that too. I still love it. My family still plays it. My friends still play it. Like, it's one of the greatest games ever. Diablo 4 is a different game, and I love it for different reasons. But I love that idea of I mean, doesn't matter how many times I play Diablo 2, right? I drop a jaw rune, I'm running a lap around my house, right? Like, I'm like,
you ain't never felt it like a jaw rune drop. Though.
I mean, it's amazing.
Nutty.
Yeah. And that like, I remember when Diablo 4 first launched, and like, we were all on message boards waiting for someone. Did they really drop a Shaco? I don't think it's real. I think it's fake, right? Like that was a wild time, and that wasn't 1999. That was fucking 2023. That's pretty cool. And it wasn't like, oh, I felt bad because I didn't have one. It was like, imagine what you would do if you got one. What you could do with it. So no, I absolutely think there should be aspirational items and things that are very hard to find, even for the top 1% of grinders. I may never find it, but it'd be really cool to see how the community reacts to it.
Yep.
It's gotta be, like you said, though. It can't be build defining. It's gotta be something that would add flavor or power to any build. But not overshadow, like, it's got to be something that would be good, kind of like a Shaco, right? All skills is good for everybody. The defenses were really good for everybody. But it's got to fit in a way that would work for everyone if they find it. Because it'd feel bad to find it and not be able to use it at all. That would feel pretty bad. Of course, I say that after you're done ripping your shirt off about Tyrael's Might, you're probably throwing it in a stash tab, right? You're not.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, not like you're gonna run it. So
it's got like run walk or something. I don't know. I've never looked at the damn thing. To fit the joke. The interesting thing though is there's nothing promising that it will be a mythic charm that you want to use for your build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing in my mind. I think one of the best things from Diablo 2 itemization is how often you would find an item and you'd go, oh, is this like a build? Like, could I do this? And it would inspire you to play your next character to try that thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And that is severely missing in Diablo 4. I start a new character and go, I'm going to have to go farm the things that I need for my character. I've never found a thing where I'm like, oh, sick, now I can go do whatever sorceress, right? It's always been, well, I'll get my character to 70 very quickly from caches, I'll turn them in, and then I'll churn through my boss mats, and then I'll get my uniques and I'll go play. But if I found the mythic charm for like the second best meta build, but I'm over here, pushing top 1,000, I'd be like, well, probably do better over there now that I have one of the strongest items for it. The other stuff is fairly simple to get, all things considered. And as long as the community is willing to like not set their house on fire when they get like a bad mythic charm, and they can experience that inspiration, they can experience that what if moment, then I think they will see the value in it. Right now, I'm not sure people will, but I'm hoping that if the devs do stick to these ideas, stick to these ideologies as far as what the game's meant to offer, we could show people that opportunity, and it can inspire that in the current generation of people playing this game.
Yeah.
Well, here's to hoping. Now, We're not going to dig into a lot of patch notes. In other words, you're kind of already alluded to Sorcerer being cooked, and that's
Cooked, man. We're cooked. It's okay though. We'll figure it. Surely something's gonna shake loose, right?
it'll
But
it'll
it
be
feels
fine.
cooked.
Druid's getting a few changes here and there. Rest in peace, Might of the Earth sign. It'll still be okay, but it won't be as good. Interested to see how the Druid ends up being, but the one very, very noticeable thing, and you had mentioned it before, Macro, is the sheer amount of Warlock changes. Warlock has more things listed in the patch notes than all of the other classes combined, basically, which good on you, Bjorn. You are out there getting it done. And the team, right? So you are, out there, you're making Warlock build guides, and it obviously is the hotness. It's the newest new class. You mentioned before how you are very excited for what's going to be coming with the Warlock. What is it that somebody should be aware of with these changes?
Ooh, there's a lot. So one of the big things, yeah. One of the big things that's coming to a class is a continued removal of clunk. So if you've played a barbarian, if you've played a sorc, even if you've played, like some of the other classes as well, some of your like utility or defensive skills, when you click them, they don't stop your character. Like you don't have to do a big, you don't have to do a big animation. They've brought that to some of the most obvious options for the warlocks. So now you don't have this big, super slow animation where you like punch the ground and the thing opens up. Defensive utility skills are now going to be no animation. They're just going to happen while you move. It's not going to be Whirlwind Barbarian because the Warlock really is not seeking to deliver that fantasy. It is meant to be visceral. It's meant to be heavy. You're meant to feel it. It's meant to be your character tearing the abyss out of a demon to burn people with hellfire. And you're supposed to feel that. They're getting rid of even more clunkiness than they did this season. They're bringing a lot of power to an overwhelming amount of the uniques on the class. There were so many uniques that were like interesting, just not good enough. And they have just added a 0 to the ones that needed a 0. They have added better functionality to the ones that needed it. So a really good example would be Scepter of the Three. It's probably the most interesting unique on the class, and it sucks. It is, you can equip all ultimates. You don't really do that. And it gives you 15 ranks in all ultimates. That kind of matters. And it used to be, if you didn't have an ultimate running, every cast that you did would hit a target and you would build up a bonus. And then when you cast an ultimate skill, then you get that bonus. And as long as you have one going, you will keep the bonus. Now it's regardless of what you're doing. You could be doing it. You could be clicking your ultimate. You can be not be. While you are dealing damage, so hitting enemies at all, so hitting multiple enemies, hitting a ton in a group, will build up a damage bonus that just stays there until you drop your ult. Meaning that you can be casting your ult the whole time. You can be using multiple cast skills. You can be hitting multiple targets. It's not this like this whole setup and then do a thing. It's you're just playing the game and you're going to get this huge multi and you don't have to worry about all this nonsense that people were doing before. So the long and short is the lead dev, you call them up by name, Bjorn. This is Bjorn's baby. Bjorn is where the Spiritborn came from. So they were the Spirit Bjorn before, and now they're the Bjorn Lock. Or War Bjorn, whatever you want to call them. I just call them Bjorn, and we have very heated discussions about what the class should look like and feel like. And luckily, he's smarter than I, but also very open to feedback. He's an incredibly talented guy. And every place where we went, damn, we really want to enjoy this, but it kind of feels bad. He's like, heard. And that was the whole expansion now this season. And he was just like, heard. So when you look at this list of changes, where you're like, oh, it's all just better and good and doesn't suck and like is easier to manage. It's because he was like, yep, actually, that's salient. Absolutely. You know what? I didn't even think of that. an incredible amount of effort was put into this class. And I think even if you don't know what all the words are, if you don't know what all the aspects are, whatever, if you just look at the list of work, you're like, holy, this was someone's baby, and they made sure that they were going to make it into a good university. You know what I mean? Like he's really setting up the Warlock for success. Mm. And this goes hand in hand with the live team as well, because the live team does a lot of the balancing. There's like a lead dev person, and there's the people managing the game now that it's live. There's a different structure there. So it's hand in hand with that. There's a little like numerical changes here and there. Command Valak, one of the more meta use demons, costs a little bit less dominance. You might go, that doesn't matter. And it was because if you died and you tried to summon him and then activate him, base dominance wasn't enough to be able to do that. So if you didn't set up all of your stuff, you actually couldn't even activate your demon. They fine-tuned one of the numbers. So now if you happen to die and you respawn, you summon your demon and you can activate them all off of one orb of dominance. And that's something that flies under the radar. Mm-hmm. That was one of my biggest pain points on the class, like trying to run builds with this thing. And I really wanted to highlight that because I feel like people wouldn't notice something like that because you're just going to die. You're going to click the buttons. They're going to work and go, of course it works. And it's like, no, that was a fine tuning. That was somebody going in and being like, 5 less cost here would make this build feel that much better in its worst case scenario. You just died. You were just humbled. You don't want to experience frustration. And they removed that frustration. And that's like the level of minute detail that's going into this class. And if y'all don't like it after this point, I'm still going to do my best to lobby for us. A lot of people care a lot about this class, especially amongst the partners, because I don't want to be mean. It is an incredibly interesting and complex class, and it rewards you for caring about that. And if you use a build guide and you just kind of follow it blindly, you're going to experience so many fewer friction points than you did previously because this level of detail is going into these changes.
I, for one, am looking forward to it, and I will just follow whatever you recommend. Speaking of which, are you seeing, and it's obviously very early, you need to get hands-on, is there any shifts to the Warlock meta or Necromancer meta, since you're juggling both? Is like not necessarily things rising up, but is there new builds coming from what you're seeing? Something that was not possible that could now be possible?
Here's what I'm going to do for you. So, to plug myself a little bit, whenever we do these PTR patch notes, I do like a full mathematic breakdown on each one of the changes to the best of my ability. Some of them are harder to calculate, right? But I try to create kind of like a general, hey, if you don't care about any of this, here's what to look out for. So I'm gonna read my list verbatim for new builds, not the meta shifts, because there are meta shifts. Right. Here are new builds I'm gonna try in this PTR. And keep in mind, I have more hours on this class than almost anybody in the world. Not a flex. These are new builds I'm gonna try. Completely new. Dark Prison, Hellfire Doom, Infernal Breath, and I just put a bunch of Z's here, like he's breathing fire. Abodian Hellfire Minions. I have one in all caps just called Laser Beams. Hellion Sting, and that's not a new build, but I think it's finally good. Backpack Abaddon, Warhound, Abodian, and Bombardment, but a bombardment with an asterisk, and it goes, but actually bombardment. Those are builds that some people are playing right now. So there is a Laser Beams build. It's called Profane Sentinel.
Right.
But it's kind of on the cusp there where it is very strong, but it's not as strong as the meta build, but it's close enough where like it probably should have gotten more attention. But these are builds where we either don't currently have a build guide on them or nobody has a build guide on them because the people who are playing them don't need build guides. They're the people on the frontier testing these weird things.
Right.
All of those are new builds I'm going to try in this PTR, apropos of the meta entirely.
Nice. Well,
the Necromancer got completely screwed. Sorry to cut you off. You asked me about the Necromancer. Necromancer got completely screwed. I would do a whole segment on this. I don't know why they hate this class. We got 6 things, and none of them changed nothing. And it made me incredibly angry. Sincerely.
I think the best comment I had seen about the Necromancer changes was, well, it is a dead class anyway.
And you know what? Since the release of this game, I feel like the Necromancer has been a bit of the underdog, and I'll continue to root for and fight for and lobby for the underdog. But it's starting to feel a little personal, guys. It's starting to feel a little messed up. It's a little bit despair over in the Necromancer camp. That being said, even in this season, like if you change nothing, we already have multiple builds that are up in the high 130s, low 140s as far as power is concerned. This includes multiple of them are minion builds. So it's like it's kind of hard to moan when we have like 3 minion builds that can all do like pit tier 140, right? Like that, it's hard to complain about that until you go look at it in comparison to other people, which I think that comparison robs us of happiness. But if we're trying to give feedback about like objective power differences, it's pretty stark, and it is weird season after season to see a lot of it go unaddressed. So I'm hoping for a pretty large suite of additional changes to the class post PTR, as long as we can make a good enough case for like, hey, these numbers just like ain't it. So like, what's the game plan?
And I think that's the general hope of the PTR for any class that isn't the Warlock, right? Where
dude, Warlock's gonna bang, dude. It's hey, welcome to the Warlock, because especially if you're like I want to play the best build. I got builds doing over 151 in estimate, so welcome to a build that beats the game in a way that other builds can't. Hello,
as a barbarian.
I think we got him, dude. I think we got him this season. Dude. I think we got him, dude.
You don't say that now.
I got spinny builds. I got spinny builds too. We spin.
You can't.
It's a chain, but it spins. It's a spinning chain. I think that's good enough.
Again, Barbarian's gonna get all this fancy new stuff and a Stone of Jordan and be immortal and do 150 plus. But it's
what if you equip 3 Ingiomes? Then what's it look like? All right, because they could dual wield the Ingiomes and equip Messerschmitts. That's 3 Ingiomes, dog.
Mm-hmm.
What's a cooldown? I ain't never seen one.
Not gonna happen. Okay, so we're running a little long. Thank you for updating us on the amazing state of the Warlock and the dire state of the Necromancer. So let's just get to the end here, as we are on the precipice of BlizzCon. What are your plans for BlizzCon? Anything you can share?
I think I'm streaming. That's what. No, okay. Yep. So as a real human, like a real human who does real stuff outside of this, I'm actually really excited. I have 2 friends who, heard I was going to Blizz. Yeah, like in September we're going to be traveling. I'm going to be bringing my girlfriend out, Panda. You're going to be able to meet her, and they were like, "Oh, okay. Can anybody go?" I was like, "Yeah, you just have to like buy a ticket, I guess, and a plane ride out to California." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, we'll do that." So I'm just bringing 2 just normal friends who don't even play this game and don't care about this franchise. Nice. They're like, yeah, I like novelty. I'll go to a thing where you're like a micro niche celebrity and see you squirm for sure.
Nice.
So it's going to be like a bunch of people who are like, oh, you're a Mac for sure. And then be like, hey, Mako, who are they? Are you important? It's going to be like Dan Blizzard himself. I'll be like, yeah, that's Dan Blizzard. And they'll be like, sick. Nice to meet you, dude. Because they're all from Boston like me. So they're just going to...
You're wicked famous, huh?
Yeah, oh, look at this dude. Look at him on the stream. Boopity boppity boopity. Look at me throwing up gang signs. No, but so that's probably the thing I'm most excited for. Is just like a couple of my friends were like, we are also adults who have income that we can spend on things, and they're gonna come out with us, and hopefully I can impress them, and then they can come back home and be like, nah, he's actually out there doing it. But as far as like things for nerds to be excited for, I know I'm going to be doing a stream spot. So the last time I was at BlizzCon, I had the honor of being able to, at the time, interview Adam Jackson, who was the lead live class designer. So basically the man behind the works of a lot of what the classes were kind of originally meant to offer to the game, and the themes and the fantasies of that. He's moved on to other companies at this point. I wish him nothing but the best, but I assume we love Adam Jackson. He's such an incredibly smart dude. But like I got to interview, Pez Radar at the time, and Adam Jackson, and other people who aren't with the company anymore. Oh no. And hopefully the idea is that
if you want the game to go forward well, you shouldn't be interviewing a lot of people this time around.
Yeah. I'll just bring my buddy on. I'll just bring my buddy on, and like he can't leave Blizzard because he doesn't work for them. He's a blue collar union man, and we love that for him.
Hell yeah.
But so I assume something along those similar lines. Like I did a meet and greet with fans, and nobody knew who I was, so that was incredibly humbling.
I don't know if you've shared it on the pod before. I know you've shared it at least off pod. It is one of my personal favorite stories, but I'm gonna come back to it for a second, because I will say you were formally invited by Blizzard to come do this. You get that designation, right?
Yeah, I got like the little thing in my email that says don't share your barcode, but you can tell people. I was formally invited by Blizzard as part of the Diablo partner program. So like, I guess like they want me there to do stuff. I assume. Right. I don't know, man. I'm willing to dance like a little monkey, if I'm going to be honest with you. It's BlizzCon to me was a thing as a kid where I just knew it happened, and my family comes from pretty humble place, so I was like, I'm never going to have money for that ever. And in 2023, when they're like, we'd love to fly you out, I was like, on a plane. I'm from Boston. I'm a country bumpkin. I've been to like 4 states. And I've left the country one time, and they're like, yeah, we'll like bring you to California to do stuff. And I went, what? Like me? And you pay for it? And you're not lying? Oh, please. So that's when they bought my loyalty. But more sincerely, yeah, I guess I'm being brought there for a reason. It's right. I'm not just going there. So.
And I can share now that we also have been invited, and I feel
brother,
very much akin to you, Macro, of the like. I have never been to BlizzCon. Same kind of thing, timing, humble beginnings, and then obviously when my kids were little, could not stretch that, could not make that work. So the thought,
Looney Tunes, dude.
Right? The thought of being able to get out there for my first, and then to also be invited, is so real, and I'm super excited for what that will entail. But I want to go back to your meet and greet story, because I was talking about it with my son the other day, and I also had to explain who Amaranth was, and then it got real awkward between the two of us. So please do tell.
And I will do it succinctly. I had a leg up. Okay. So at BlizzCon, they had planned a meet and greet. The meet and greet was supposed to be Amaranth, who is a model and streamer. And that's where we'll put that. She plays World of Warcraft, which is the tie-in. They also brought in Riker, and I think I'm literally wearing his merch. His hat that I got at BlizzCon after nagging him enough. I stole his hat. And it was supposed to be Darth Microtransaction, who obviously like super blew up with Diablo Immortal, and carved out a really good niche for himself in the genre. And DM got an ear infection and couldn't fly in from Alaska. So last minute they needed to fill this spot. And they went, "Hey, you're personable. Do you want to do a meet and greet?" And I went, "Blizzard, hey, how's it going? My name's Mac. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm nobody, and it's crazy that you just asked me that." And they're like, "Yeah, so you'll do it?" And I went, "Yeah, so I'll do it." And my leg up is way back in the day. And you could technically find pictures of this. I used to be a cosplayer, and I did cosplay, like League of Legends cosplay at like Anime Boston and PAX East and stuff. And through that, I was friends, and I'm still friends to this day, with a pretty famous American cosplayer by the name of Danielle. Danielle is literally, they know Amaranth, right? So, because they're all in the same circles, like they know the same people. They know like Stella Chu and Jessica Negri. Like they're famous. I'm not. They are. But I'm friends with them. And we did cosplay together. So I got to be like, oh my, hey, Danielle, I'm going to be in a meet and greet with Amaranth. And she was like, oh, so-and-so. I don't remember her real name, but she's like, oh yeah, so-and-so. Like, let her know that we know each other. So we get to a little behind the scenes. We're getting ready for it. And they have like a PR person there because now we're outside of the community management team. We're in like Blizzard PR. Mm-hmm. Somebody has a 3-piece suit on with an earpiece, and I was like, who does that talk to? And they're like, you don't need to know about that. I was like, sorry. And we're all kind of standing around, and Riker's an incredibly humble guy, and luckily we're friends, so we at least get to be cool. And I come walk up to Amaranth, I'm like, hi, I know Danielle, and she's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, man. So like that helped us to break the ice, where I got to be like, oh, so and so, yeah, because I used to do cosplay. And she's like, oh, that's cool. And we get into this line, and it's like 3 tables, and I'm at the end because of course I'm at the end. Why don't put me up the front? And there's just like this like huge snaking line, marked off of all these people, and everybody's there to see Amaranth. And one dude had her step on him in public, and I went, so that's a lot. And then everybody is super stoked to see Riker because they're like, it's him, and I'm like, it is him. He's my friend. We're friends. We like each other. We're both Italian descendant. That's cool. And like 2 or 3 people knew who I legitimately knew who I was. Like were there because they either like are part of my community. One of them was a Diablo 3 dev who just happens to like my stuff, so that was cool. Shout outs to Rex. And one of the most humbling things, because like we had like posters and we were all signing them. The most humbling thing that has ever happened in my life, bar none. And I've been in fist fights where I've lost, so this is pretty low. This dude, he goes to Amaranth, salivating, gross. And he goes to Riker and he's in awe. And he gets to me and he goes, so what do you do? And I went, oh, I play video games and I play these ones and I'm like a partner. And then he stared at me and no joke went, do you want to sign my poster? And I said, I can. I don't have to. You can, I don't need this. You can leave. It's okay. And I spent a lot of that time trying to peek over the corner because there was like a cool Overwatch event going on because I had a lot of free time at this meet and greet. So luckily, I've grown a bit since then. More people in the community know me. So if I have to be the emergency meet and greet, I assume 5 to 6 people will know me. Yeah. Humbling in a deep way.
When I was talking with my son, I was explaining, like what the special invite is, and I was like, let me tell you what happened to a friend of mine, and I hope that's not my situation. And I don't think it would be, but man, I now know. Hey. Like, hey Santh, we're doing this meet and greet. Not with me, you're not. No.
With me. I know what you did to Mac. You will not be doing. And be like, oh, Mac, you're right. He has experience. Hold on.
Shit, let me go find him. Where is he? And then, but again, I think you are obviously, you've grown significantly since 2023. You could easily be in Riker's spot at this point. So
that is a kindness Mac, that is undeserved, and I appreciate that.
I have seen your face so many times loading up BattleNet. Like, people will recognize you at this point.
Maybe. And you know what? If they don't, that's also okay.
But yeah, I mean, like.
But I would hey, this is my call. If anybody listening to this is going to BlizzCon, even if you don't really know who I am, could you get excited and say like, oh, damn, it's you? That would make my day. It's never happened. It would make my day. It would be so cool.
There is your call to action. Give Mac his internet fame at BlizzCon and his flowers, right? If you've used the build guide. I mean, I will do it, but it's not going to feel as good because, like,
Oh, no, my ego needs that. Yeah, that'll feel great. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it will. And generally, I think as we talk about the excitement of BlizzCon, it will be just so exciting to see real people, right?
It's the coolest ever. Like to break it to you, it is incredibly cool because so many of these people, like, we only know each other online, right? it is just so cool to humanize, to like be like, oh, you're real, and like we're really people and we care about this, and this is it's magic. It's magic. Everybody's walking around with like stars in their eyes because it's just so awesome to just be like, oh damn, there really is a whole community here.
Mm-hmm.
And we all like the same stuff, and it's cool that we're all here and doing it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked. Nerdbirds and I play D&D together, so we see each other in person bi-weekly. But prior to that, I've never met Timeball in person, and I mean, like, we're doing this for a long time, plus the old podcast for back in 2012. So it'll be cool to.
That's
meet
when I
some
went.
people.
That's when I went to BlizzCon. Yeah.
See. So yeah, there's a lot there, and it will be genuinely exciting. So there's call to action, everyone. Find Mac, tell him how awesome he is, and if there's a meet and greet, you gotta line up for him and make sure, because we can't repeat the mistakes of the past. And if Amaranth is there, you can still be, cool with that. But give Mac his flowers as well.
Well, and in the interest of that conversation, to insert myself in a place that was not asked, I will give you your flowers, Mac. I've been playing Diablo since Diablo 2. Or, well, since Diablo 1, actually, back in the day. But I've been a huge Diablo fan my whole life. I am a polyamorous gamer. I play a lot of games. But my first and most truest love is Diablo. There are 2 content creators that I watch every fucking video that comes out. That's MacroBioBoi and that's Riker. That's it.
Okay? That's incredibly kind. Thank you.
Because there's a difference between people that do this to make it a job, right? To make it their primary source of income. And there's a difference between that and people that do it because they're genuinely just passionate about the game, passionate about what it gives them and what it gave them growing up, and wants to pass that on to the next group of people, the next generation of people. And you and Riker have maintained that. Riker for a very long time, because even back in 2013.
He's the GOAT, dude.
He's great.
We don't love him enough.
Right. But also, again, Macro, your videos are so informative and so good. And the most recent video, I forget the actual name, but you talk a lot about the stuff we just talked about with the Warlock. So I will pitch, if you are interested, you should absolutely check out Macro's newest video on YouTube. It's incredible. It's called Warlock equals Strongest Class and BlizzCon Secrets in the Diablo 4 Season 15 PTR. It's an incredible 40-minute dive into the Warlock and the changes that are coming from someone who is very smart and very focused on what this is going to do to the game moving forward. And you should watch it, even if you don't play Warlock, because I don't. I play Sorcerer, but it's so fascinating. And I'm actually going to play Warlock in this season for sure. So Macro, you are more than deserving of your flowers, sir. And I'm excited to meet you. It'll be super fun. BlizzCon's going to be a good time to share.
That's very, very kind of you. I appreciate that.
And yeah, we're at that point, Macro. Where can people find you for said videos and content?
Oh man, my name sucks. Hi, I'm MacroBioBoi. It's macro, like macroing, and then bio, like bio, and then boy with an I instead of a Y, because MacroBio is taken on Twitch. But I stream Monday through Friday, and especially with events like the PTR, I stream every day, 1 to 7 ET, over on Twitch and on YouTube. I have been putting out more short form content, so if you prefer to watch that kind of stuff, like little like cool moments or like a little secret, I've been putting that out a lot more. I do that on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook, which sucks, but like, you know what? It's hard out in these streets. But I'm also a writer over on Maxroll, so maxroll.gg. I'm like one of the primary writers for Diablo 2 Resurrected over there as well. I have written 9 out of the 10 Warlock guides that we have for D2R over on Maxroll, but I'm also the Warlock and Necromancer lead. And that's enough of me shelling. Thank you very much. You can find me at the meet and greet if it does happen.
Hey, let's go.
Well,
and if I'm not in it, actually, that would suck so bad that I did that called shot. But hey, you know what? We're living our best dreams right now. So
we don't know a schedule. We'll see what happens.
I literally don't know. I'm not even saying there is one. I have no concept. But I'll try to weasel in there for you. I'll stand outside of it, and I'll just have a little sign. I'll say like, I'm here too.
Sir, we need to get inside the venue. Please move. We like your sign. Thank you.
Getting in is hard. Get ready for that. Even as us, getting in is legitimately challenging to do. Get ready for that. It sucks.
All right. Well, I'll prep. I'll do what I can. But I don't know any better. So I will find one of you two and just glom on, and
that's what we did.
Make it work.
You'll do great.
So at this point, our Nerds, is your inventory pretty full?
Yeah, I've been dropping shit on the ground left and right. Stash tab's full. I'm 10 out of 10 slots right now, so we need to do something about that.
Yeah, Mac, need to ID those items there.
So yeah, I think I picked up like 3 or 4 different ammies that I was hoping to identify. It's all I have space with left because I filled the rest up with skillers. So,
well, I think it's time to head to Kane, and thanks for listening.
Greetings, my friends. You have been staying a while and listening to the Diablo Podcast. Farewell, my friends.